Good evening, everyone. Let's start with Azure DevOps. And in the DevOps lab, starting from 9th program to the 12th program, it is all about DevOps. How do you automate projects using Azure DevOps? Everything you will be seeing from 9th program to 12th program. Here I'm going to give introduction to Azure DevOps. What are the services which are available in DevOps and all. So Azure DevOps, it's like a teamwork toolbox for building a software. Okay, so it helps a team of developers to work together, planning their work, write the code, test it, and also share it with the user all in one place. Like we put everything in one place because it is safe and also quickly. So now let us take one simple example. We want to make a Lego city with our friends. Lego City is nothing but it offers endless possibilities for creative play, role playing, everything. A city with emergency services, commercial buildings, and even explore beyond the city limits. That we call it as Lego City. Okay, so it's like a Lego control center. Like a plan, we plan what to build and who builds what, and then quality check is also done, and then does it work. Okay, so like that, everything planning and then plan, build, and checking of the quality and deploying will be done by this Azure DevOps. So uh, let us take one real life developer story. Developers use Azure boards to decide what to work on. Okay, so they write their code and save it into the repositories. There are so many Microsoft Azure services available. The one we are talking about, the repository, Azure repository. Okay, so they write the code and save it into the repository. Then this comes, then pipelines check if the code work, if the code is working or not, it will check. And then if there are any bugs, then they use test plan to fix them. And then ready to share, if your code is ready to share, then we gonna use something called as artifacts to deploy that. Okay, so if it is ready to share, we use artifacts to deploy them. So basically this is how your Azure works. Okay, so we have a repositories, pipelines, test plans, and artifact. Repository for writing of the code and saving it into the saving it. We use repository. Pipeline, if that code if it works properly or not, pipelines are used to check that. And if there are any errors, then we write a test plan. We have something called as test plan services, using which we fix the bugs. And then once it is ready, we use artifacts to bundle them and send it out, like deploying them onto the app store or to the website. Okay, why we use Azure DevOps? Point number one is this. Point number one is teamwork in one place can be done. And point number two is that automation, less errors because of the automation. And point number three is that easy to track. Okay, so if 5 developers are working on a project, they can push and pull their code into one repository. It is easy to track, and then fast. And then the fourth point is that fast and safe delivery of the software. So these are the 4 points why do we use DevOps. So it brings development and operation together to make a software delivery faster. DevOps is a combination of two words, no? Development and operation. Earlier, development and operation, there was a big firewall between the development, big wall between the development and also the op operation. Now, using DevOps, the wall has been broke. So here, Azure DevOps is a cloud-based platform provided by Microsoft that supports the entire software development lifecycle. It offers tools for planning, developing, testing, and delivery of the software. Okay, so the complete package can be found in one thing called as Azure DevOps. That's why it is meant for automation. And core components of this Azure DevOps is an Azure board. Okay, this board is used for the project management. Okay, it helps the teams to plan their work, track their process, and then manage their task. Okay, it supports Kanban boards, sprint backlogs, and also dashboards. Example can be like this: track the features, and bugs can be tracked out, tasks can be tracked out, and user stories can also be tracked. That is Azure boards. And then, as I told you earlier, there are so many services available by Azure DevOps. And the one important service that we have is this one, Azure Repository. So it is a code repository for storing your code. It supports Git and Team Foundation version control, enables version control, code reviews, branching, and say for example, developers can push their code into the repository and collaborate through pull requests. That is Azure DevOps. And we have something called as pipeline. Okay, pipelines are used to automate build and development process. Okay, it supports continuous integration and continuous development. It works with many languages and platforms and cloud providers. That's a pipeline. And the next important service that we have is Azure Test Plans. Okay, it's a tool for manual and also automated testing. Helps to manage the test cases, record the results, and track the defects. Okay, so quality controller or quality testers can write the test cases and run them to find the bugs. And we have Azure Artifact as one of the important services again, so which is used to store and share the packages like libraries or tools. Okay, say for example, my artifact, I have developed one application and it should be built using something called as Maven. Okay, so then you can just using the artifact, you can just store this Maven tool, and which is basically useful for managing the dependencies, okay, into your project. Okay, say for my project I require some external dependency, then your artifacts would provide those dependencies. Okay, basically it is a library. So to run your application, whatever the tool you require, that will be provided by Azure Artifact. So one simple example I have given here is this one. To store a reusable login module as an artifact, share it with the team. Okay, so login module can be used as an artifact. Whenever we want to log in for the next time, the same login module can be used. Okay, rather than writing username and password, we create a module with the name login, and that can be considered as an artifact. That artifact, that is a library now, that is a tool now, that will be given among all our groups or all our teams, so that they can directly go for that artifact and they can directly log into the account. Okay, one simple example. Basically, it acts like a library or a tool. It will install all the dependencies that your project to run. That's it. And here is the complete life cycle. First is plan. We use Azure boards for planning, and we write and store our code into the repository. And after writing the code into the repository, we test whether the code is working properly or not using Azure pipeline, and we validate the code. Once it is done, we use one more service called as release, automatically deploy using continuous integration and development. And then we use operate service to monitor and maintain the application, and then we get a feedback from the customers and we improve it. That's the complete life cycle of the Azure. Key benefits of DevOps: one is collaboration, all the teams can be work together in one platform. Second point is that automation, a repetitive task like a building and deploying can be automated, and faster development and delivery, and also scalability. It works for the small teams and also for the large enterprises, and also cloud hosted. It can be accessed from anywhere, no local setup needed. Security and also compliance. offers role-based access and also audit the logs.